Hi, I'm Mike Clayson.
I'm Walter Von Henne, and we live here in Washington State in an HOA community called Jubilee. We're very happy here, but one of the issues that we have, and this happens in our community, and I'm sure in many communities across the United States, are what?
The issue between street trees and sidewalks. Sounds kind of mundane, but it's actually extremely important.
Trees and sidewalks, because what happens is no matter what, trees grow. You can't stop a tree from growing. And what happens when a tree grows?
Right, the roots lift the sidewalks. If the tree is too close to a sidewalk, will lift it.
Yeah, I've lived in other communities where that's happened, and it becomes a hazard. And it's not only for the homeowner, but there's other people or entities involved in that.
That's right. These lawsuits, if there is a lawsuit, if someone trips and falls on an uplifted sidewalk and is injured, there's almost always four parties in Washington State. So it's the City of Lacey, of course. It's going to be our homeowners association, the Jubilee Community Association, and it's going to be the adjacent property owner, and then finally the plaintiff who was injured.
Right. And so what you don't want to do, you don't want to cause a problem. But, there are people who say, well, let's rip up the sidewalks and not have the sidewalks so the trees can grow. There are other people who say, hey, forget about the sidewalks. It's the trees that need to go. And you're going, this is absolutely nuts to me.
Right. It's hard to reach a compromise, but you have to, because these parties come in. I mean, the City of Lacey obviously is important because they own and control the sidewalks. You've got our association that comes in because they control the trees. And you got the adjacent property owner that comes in because in Washington State, there's a statute that says that adjacent property owners have to take care of the sidewalks next to the property. So there's no way of getting away from it. If there's an uplift in front of your house and someone trips on it, in all likelihood, you're going to be brought in as a party to the lawsuit.
Yeah. One thing about the trees, I know they don't attend board meetings. All they care about is growing and having a good life. It's not that they care about the sidewalk uplifting or anything. It's all those other entities that have issues with this that you need to deal with.
Right. And there's lots of questions out there about what a homeowner can do to limit their liability. And it's also complicated by the fact that these types of cases almost always settle. So I would say just a rough number, 95 to 98% of these types of lawsuits settle. So there's very little case law on who is actually responsible for these kinds of this kind of liability. And because everyone's insured usually, the insurance companies work out who's going to share what and between themselves, and then they end up paying a portion of the plaintiff's injuries, and life goes on. I mean, that's how these cases go. It's very aggravating. So people who run around and say, well, I'm going to spray paint the crack on my sidewalk to let people know, or I'm going to put out cones, or I'm going to put out flags. That's all great, and that's really a good way of showing that you're not being negligent, that you're aware of the problem, and you're warning people about the problem. But the only time that issue ever gets resolved is in a trial. And since these cases hardly ever go to trial, we never know if any of that stuff is actually going to work or not.
Then let me ask you then, what does a homeowner do? Do they contact the city? Do they contact the board in our HOA? Do they you said put out the cones and stuff and paint the sidewalk there to say, hey, this is a hazard, but how do they mitigate their own responsibility for this?
And that's the thing, is the homeowner can't fix the sidewalk, can't take the tree out. So they're really stuck, but because of the Washington statute that brings them in, they are in the lawsuit, even though they don't have any ability to affect change or make things
So
better.
can a homeowner say, I'm going to fix this problem myself. I'm going to rip out this portion of the sidewalk, and then I'm going to shave the roots of the tree so that they don't uplift the sidewalk for now, because it'll happen again as the tree keeps growing.
Right.
But for now, without killing the tree, can they then do that and then get a new sidewalk put in? Or is that illegal because they don't own that sidewalk?
It's not something that they can do because they do not own or control that sidewalk.
Then if there is, somebody comes along and they trip on that,
Right.
and they sue the HOA, and they sue the city, and they sue the homeowner. Can the homeowner then, if they did the right thing and called the city and called the HOA and saying, I've got this problem, I've tried to solve it, they're not listening to me, and I want that in writing in a letter. Are they then off the hook, and then the city isn't?
Well, that's the thing is when you talk about being off the hook or liable, those are decisions that are made by a jury. And because these cases never go to a jury, we never really find out what's going to happen. So the for the homeowner, the safest course for the homeowner is, number one, let the city know about the problem and do it in writing so that they can't claim later that you didn't tell them. Let our homeowners association know about the problem because it's their tree. And then if you're feeling really nervous and uncomfortable, you can put flags out, you can put cones out. City of Lacey has not been making a big deal about painting the sidewalk, and that's maybe something that you might want to consider or talk to the association about, because they're looking at that too. But again, those kinds of remedial actions or actions to alert people about the problem, those only apply when you're trying to apportion liability. And believe it or not, in a trial, not only is a jury apportioning liability between the homeowner, the homeowners association, and the city, they also get to look at the plaintiff, because the plaintiff has a duty to pick up their feet. So when someone's walking along a sidewalk and there's a small crack or an uplift, it's reasonable, it's normal for a normal human being to pick their foot up over that crack and walk over it and avoid falling. So a jury, in trying to apportion fault and liability, can actually impart some liability on the walker, on the person who fell too. So that's how these things usually sort out. You get a verdict form that has a place to put in a liability apportionment for each of the four parties in the lawsuit.
The key thing is we're going to live with trees in our neighborhood. We're going to live with sidewalks in our neighborhood. Thing is to be cautious and be careful. If you're out walking or running, take a look at where you're going and what you're doing. Not to say that accidents don't happen, but this is an issue that not only affects our community, but other communities. And we just wanted to bring this to your attention.
Right. There's no resolution to it.
No.
Just have to make sure you've got insurance and make sure that you tell the city and the association about an uplift if you see one. And then if you're super cautious, you can put out some cones and flags and stripe the sidewalk if that's what it takes to make you feel better.
It's been great talking to you, and may the trees be with you.
Exactly, but not on you.
Not on you.
Bye.